You're visiting the Mom Next Door and our stories of faith. I'm glad you dropped by for a visit. Please stay a while and hear what the Lord has done in the lives of moms just like you and me. Well, hi. Today, I have a guest with me that you're going to meet in a little bit. Usually, I'm interviewing another person and having them share their story. But today, my guest is here to help me tell my story. And it's funny because as I've been doing these, somebody mentioned to me, well, you're not telling much about your life. And I thought, well, that's because my plan is to help other people tell their story. But in this episode, you are going to find out what the Lord's been doing in my life and how He has moved our family in a very large way from Oregon to Tennessee. As a background, though I've moved around some in my life in my young childhood, most of my life has been in Salem, Oregon. I graduated high school there. I went to college there. I met my husband there. And we were living in our forever home out in the country. We never thought we'd leave. We've been in that home for almost 22 years, about 1.5 miles from my in-laws. And we thought that that would be our forever home. And if we were to move anywhere, it would be 1.5 miles down the road into my in-laws' house. When they maybe someday moved into like a retirement home or something. So we really never thought we would move. But as we have seen and experienced the culture in our area get a little more challenging, we kind of joked about moving. We considered a move in the future. We talked about 10 years from now. We talked about, well, maybe 6 years from now. And then we kind of talked about if we were going to move, we would want to shorten it a bit because we didn't want all of our kids, being the parents of 9 children, we did not want to have 9 children take root in Oregon and then us up and leave, because what are the chances of 9 children following us to a new state once they'd all grown up and gotten established there? So when we really started to look at the window of it, we thought, wow, we've got 5 at home right now. We maybe want to do this in the next 2 or 3 years and move those 5 with us. And we have a better chance of having everybody near us. So that was kind of what we were thinking. It could be years. I joined a Facebook group for Middle Tennessee just to kind of see what the culture was. And well, then September of 2019, my husband and I were celebrating our 25th anniversary, and we were invited to the HSLDA Leadership Conference. Well, 5 days before we were supposed to leave for that conference, my father-in-law suddenly passed away. Just really shocking. And we obviously canceled going to that conference. And it's funny how God works in our lives. We thought, wow, you know what? God never intended us to go to that homeschool conference.
Where was the conference?
The conference was in North Carolina,
okay.
in Asheville.
Okay.
And so God never intended us to go there. I think that God wanted us to have an empty calendar because He knew that we would have family things to work through. And my husband specifically, being with his mom and his family and making arrangements, we had like 10 days. He had an empty calendar so that he could address the things that he needed to address for his family. So it's funny, God didn't intend on us to go. He just wanted us to hold that space on our calendar. So, but because of that conference getting canceled, we had these flight credits. And we had these flight credits that we needed to use up within a certain time. So then after things calmed down with getting everything settled after his dad's passing, we thought, well, we need to schedule one of these. We need to schedule somewhere and use up our flight credits. Well, the conference is come and gone, so we don't have anywhere we have to be or anything we have to do. What would we do? And we're real homebodies. Like, we never go anywhere. We live a real boring life, which is good. We like that. So we were like, where would we go? What would we do? Well, okay, if we want to move to Tennessee in, 3 to 6 years, we should go look at it because we've only stepped foot in Tennessee once before.
So what made you pick Tennessee to start with?
Okay, so we really just started looking at, like, if we want to move to a new state and make a fresh start with people with values that we have, we knew we wanted to be Bible Belt. And that was kind of where we started. So if we could look anywhere we wanted, we started looking at tax laws, estate laws, homeschooling laws, parental freedoms, all of that. And it just seemed very clear to us that Tennessee was where we should be. But yet it was funny because we didn't really know.
We've never been there.
No,
really.
We'd only stepped foot in Tennessee once. We spent 5 days in Tennessee. Can we move our whole family with 5 days of knowledge, right? So we thought, well, we should use up these flight credits and go to Tennessee and check it out. So I thought, well, I joined this Middle Tennessee homeschoolers group. So I got onto that group and I posted, we're considering a move to Tennessee. Are there any homeschoolers that are real estate agents here in this group? And multiple people just kept tagging, you need to talk to Sarah Latch. You need to talk to Sarah Latch. And so I went to Sarah's profile and
Facebook stalked.
Yes, I kind of Facebook stalked Sarah a little bit, and I found she liked Above Rubies and she liked Trim Healthy Mama, and I liked those things. So I thought, okay, I'll send her a message. So that is when I met you.
So a couple of the people on that thread that recommended me, we had moved already from out of state. I know one from Chicago. We have moved people from California, multiple people from California, and they're always homeschoolers. So we have, I would say, a large percentage of our referrals are homeschool parents and families, and they're usually from out of state. So we move a lot of out of state people. But yes, that homeschool group is like a huge portion of our referrals.
Isn't that funny?
It's amazing. So that's how you saw us, and it's pretty incredible that we've developed a friendship and we've gotten you here.
I know, it is. It's crazy. And so literally I sent you a message out of the blue. Hey, we're thinking about moving to Tennessee. And that was kind of it until the point came when I had to use up these flight credits. So then I send you a message and I'm like, hey, we're using these flight credits. Could we come see you and could you show us some houses in February? And so that was September, Grandpa passed away. And then February we came out and you showed us, I think, 12 to 14 houses.
With the understanding, this is just a preliminary visit. We don't know where we want to live.
Right.
So it was more of a let's get to know you kind of visit and to see the state.
Right. And you were like, for all we know, they're going to choose Alabama, Oklahoma. I mean, like, you have no idea what we're doing. And we really didn't know what we were doing either. But nonetheless, we came and you showed us some houses. And when we left, we were like, well, that was nice. You know, maybe we'll see you in 2 or 3 or 6 years. If we see you again at all.
And we showed you houses all over Oblivion. There wasn't a specific town that you had isolated. In fact, we didn't even come to the town that you moved to.
That's right. We did not come to this area at all. Totally avoided this area, not on purpose. We were just like,
wasn't one of them.
It just wasn't one of the ones on the map. We were here in February. And we left exactly 1 week. We flew out of Nashville exactly 1 week before the big tornado that hit here.
Yes.
And so we were like, oh my goodness, we just flew out of Nashville and the tornado hit exactly 1 week after, right through Nashville. And
total devastation.
Huge.
It was a big tornado.
Yeah, and I think from what I'm hearing, it's like the biggest one that's come through here since the early 70s. So it was huge. So we were like, oh my goodness, I'm so glad we weren't in Tennessee when there was a tornado. That was crazy. So that was February. Then the whole Corona thing started in March. People started working from home. I started a mommies group on Facebook. The reason I started the mommies group was because there's all these people homeschooling who have never homeschooled before. And I thought, well, I've been homeschooling for 19 years. maybe even
you
if
have
I'm
something to offer.
right, maybe
Yeah.
even if I'm not helping them with curriculum, I could just be an encouragement to what life is like when you have your kids home every day, all day, getting in the fridge all day, making messes, you know, like
Logistics.
the whole lifestyle. Like, okay, maybe I have something to offer here. So I had started this Facebook group to reach out to those moms just to encourage them. And even a step before that, the whole reason I started that Facebook group was because I had joined a writing group online and was in a brainstorming session with this writing group, and these ladies said you should start a Facebook group for these moms. It wasn't even my idea.
Wow.
And so if you jump back even before that, the reason I joined the writing group was because I had started the blog to reach out to moms. So here I am. Okay, I'm getting older. I have grandkids now. I'm getting to be an older woman. Maybe I have experience raising 9 kids. So maybe if I started a blog, I could encourage young moms.
Yep.
So I started that. Well, now I've got the blog and I'm thinking to myself, well, I'm writing, so maybe I should learn to be a better writer. So I joined a writing group.
Right.
As I joined that writing group, then the writing group ladies were the ones that suggested when Corona started that I start this moms group. So I started this moms group, okay? So we're just, I'm kind of laying the groundwork to the amazing thing that God has done and how I look back and see how he set the path exactly to where I am right now and how he wove himself and his faithfulness throughout that whole journey, because it is,
and there's no way you could orchestrate that again.
No.
Like that, it's God. You can't deny it.
absolutely. So then we kind of fast forward from, that was March time. And Sarah, we didn't really talk that much
No.
there. But then in the middle of July, it was about July 22nd, there was a new mandate that came down from our governor in Oregon. And I just felt an anxiety and an urgency. Like, I felt like the Lord was saying, it's time. And I was like, it's time to move.
Yeah.
It's time for you to leave. And not everybody who lives in Oregon felt that. Not everybody is going to leave. But for me, I felt like this really strong, it is time. And I sent you a message on Facebook.
You called.
Oh, did I call you? I don't even remember.
I think you called and said, so I think it's time for us to go, and you know, Andrew and I are not on the same page yet. You know, he said if you find the perfect house, you know, we can discuss maybe, but this was like a prodding in your spirit that you couldn't lay down, you couldn't deny.
Yeah. I think it was like yeah, if you find the right house, we could go. But
you don't understand the parameters, audience that they had. The house had to be perfect. And when I say perfect, like a large number of bedrooms, it had to be on land, it had to have in land with good internet service, which is very, very, very difficult to find. But a list a mile long of parameters that had to be fulfilled. So for us to find the right house, it had to be completely orchestrated by God. And it was.
Well, and it was, so that being, my husband's thinking, you're feeling an urgency, like we need to leave now, like it's time. I'm not ready to leave. He's self-employed. He's like, he can't give a 2-week notice and just leave. He's like, logistically, how is this going to work out? Because I have a business. Again, we just walked through Corona, and is everyone not running their meetings on Zoom and doing online stuff? Everything's switching online, right? So I'm like, well, is it possible for you to run your business in Oregon from Tennessee? Like, what would that look like? And we started thinking, you know, we would have never seen this coming, and we have no idea that there's a lot of details to work out. And that was one of the specifics on the house, is like, we need to have a house big enough to have a home office so that he could telecommute, run his Oregon business, And none of our family lives in Tennessee. We don't really know anybody in Tennessee except Sarah.
Yeah, and not far from the airport.
Yeah, we need to
That
be
was
close enough.
another- yeah.
To be able to go back and forth. So it was a really big list. And so my husband and I went to dinner that night and we talked about it. We're like, we're going to have to pray about this. But if the Lord makes it clear and I find the perfect house, we'll go. And so that was on a Wednesday when I called you.
And I had y'all on an auto search. I think I still do, and I need to take you off of the auto search. But I had you on an auto search that did not even include this area. This was your deal. This area is in a whole different MLS system than what we run in Greater Nashville. So that was another providential thing that you ran across this location in this house and found it, not me.
So yeah, and so I know Nancy Campbell, and a lot of the listeners know who Nancy is. So I know Nancy Campbell and a few of her family members. Just not, I'm not tight with them. I just know them, and they might know me. But and then there is one lady named Melanie who moved to Tennessee about 5 years ago, and our children used to do a dance class together, this English country dancing. It's like you'd see in Pride and Prejudice,
Right.
So our kids did this English country dancing class together, like my kids that are in their 20s.
Right.
And she has twins, I have twins. So as our kids were dancing, we might sit there and just visit and chat a little bit, but I again don't know her well. I just know her as another mom. We drop off our kids and we sit there and chat. Well, we were friends on Facebook, probably because to stay up on events back then. They moved to Tennessee, didn't think anything of it. Well, when I felt this urgency, I sent a Facebook message to Nancy and then to Melanie. And I said, number 1, will you pray us to Tennessee? And number 2, do you know any place out in the country that would have strong internet? Because I know we're going to need that for him to telecommute. And I sent those off, didn't think much of it. I spent the whole day on Saturday on Zillow. The whole day. I wasted the entire day on Zillow, and I was feeling like truly I was looking for a needle in a haystack. And then everybody's hungry, and I'm like, oh, we'll have like toasted cheese for dinner because I've wasted my whole day on Zillow. And I really felt like, wow, God. I remember talking to God saying, you need me to be effective in my home. I can't put my life on hold. My people need me. There's stuff I need to do. And I can't spend day in and day out for how many months looking on Zillow till I find this needle in a haystack. Lord, if you would have us move, if you want us to move, you're going to have to hand us the house and make it so clear.
Yeah.
Because I don't know what else to do. I can't do this.
You can't put your life on hold.
No. And so after our big fancy dinner, I went back. I was not going to go back on Zillow at all. I just went to check Facebook, see what I missed. And there was a message from this gal, Melanie. And she said, I sure can pray for you and have you checked out this little town. And she gave me the name of a couple towns. And I said, well, I've never even heard of it, but I'll go look. I literally typed in the town she said into Zillow, and the first listing that came up was the house that we ended up buying.
So you just put the town, you didn't put any like room specifics or any of that?
Well, that was already pre-saved, I think.
Okay.
I think it was already, my specs were kind of pre-saved. So I literally put in the town and up pops this house. I look and I'm like looking through the whole thing going, it checks the box, it checks the box, it checks the box. And then I send my husband the address only. And I say, check this address for internet. And he writes back and goes, yeah, it looks like the internet is going to be good. Why don't you send me the link and I'll look at the house. And so then I showed him the house and he's like, wow, that checks all the boxes. Why don't you get a hold of Sarah and see what Sarah thinks? That was on Saturday night. So mind you, I felt this urgency. It is time on Wednesday. Saturday night, I found the house.
And the house had not been listed, but just a few days, right?
I think it was 40.
40 days.
It was 40,
okay.
which now...
But it had been under contract previously, and it was off market. So when you saw it, it had just been newly back on market.
Okay. And so... And from what I've talked to people around here, 40 days is a long time for a house here.
But as those days accumulate when they're under contract. So
right.
A lot of that was just, passing the time until you saw it.
Well, maybe so. Yeah, I think God has timing in this. His timing became very apparent. So I can't remember if I messaged you Saturday or Sunday, but nonetheless, you were in your car. Mm-hmm. You and your husband loaded up your kiddos on Monday.
Mm-hmm. It was Monday morning.
And drove 2.5 hours? Was it 2.5? 2 hours?
It's 2 hours to get here.
So you guys loaded up your kiddos and drove here 2 hours. For me, who we'd only met once, and it was just like, is this lady going to buy in this state or a different state?
Or this
How
year.
Serious? Or this year or 6 years from now? And you guys had never been to this town either.
No.
So you FaceTime video. We FaceTimed a tour. You're driving through the town. You're videoing the town. Like, here's your post office. Here's your, you were showing me. And then you got to the house. And we did a FaceTime tour, walking through the house.
Every square foot of the house.
Yep.
Every closet, every drawer.
Yep. Yep. I was like, where's their trash can? Open the drawer. Show me where their trash can is in the kitchen.
Taste the water.
Taste the water. Yeah, that's another story. So the water in Tennessee is not like the water in Oregon, I'll tell you that. So,
it's so funny.
Yeah, that's another story there. But, so anyway, that was on Monday. And I believe it was Monday night, we put in an offer on the house.
Yes.
And
there were a few specifics that you wanted me to hunt down. Like,
okay.
The septic stuff and, what about the extra lot next door? And so I think we hunted those down. I think by the next day we had put in a offer.
Yeah. So there was a few little things just to look, but it was quick.
Very quick.
It was quick because by Wednesday, we were in contract on this house. Mm-hmm. So exactly 1 week from the time I felt the urgency of God saying, it's time, we were in contract on a house in a town we've never been to, in a state we had only stepped foot in twice. So it was like when God said, it's time, he also said, I'm going to help y'all. This is going to be,
I'll never forget
helping.
Your husband saying, well, when I gave Pam the go-ahead to look at houses, he said, leave it to Pam to pray it into existence. He said that.
He said, I didn't think you'd find one.
No, he did not.
He did not think I'd find one at all. And I don't know. I don't know if I thought I would find one, but I have been...
You certainly were going to try.
I was, and I feel like I had recently heard somebody talk about praying like a sniper. And how does a sniper do their job? It is with direction. Mm-hmm. It is with detail and precision. And it is with an expectation for an outcome. Yeah. And so that's what I feel like I was learning to pray with precision, with expectation of an outcome, with full confidence that God would come through, and so...
One way or another. I mean, he could have said, no, this urgency is, you're going to stay here a little longer.
Right.
But he did provide.
Yeah.
Instantly.
Yeah, it was really kind of incredible. And so then in the meantime, you and I are having these conversations, well, a little bit about... We've never lived where there's tornadoes, and I don't know about
or
this.
Snakes.
And
ticks and bugs and
yes. And so after we put in the offer, I'm like, oh my goodness, what did we just do? Like, we really just did that. We put in an offer on the house, and then we were like, we should probably call our moms. Because, like, this happened so quick. Funny. We hadn't even told people that we were thinking of it. And so we then called our moms and talked to them and what does our timeline look like? And it was probably a month after that, just when we knew that things were ratcheted down and truly moving forward, when I announced on my mommy's group on Facebook. I did a little Facebook Live and I said, hey, I'm not going to be on the group as active because I'm busy packing. God has totally changed things in our life and we are moving across country. And so I won't be as active. We're moving to Tennessee.
What month did you go under contract?
That was July.
July. And then another one of your parameters is we can't have a quick move. We need time to get our stuff in order. And in my brain as a realtor, I'm like, oh no, like that's not a good thing, because if you put an offer on a house, that person wants to close pretty quick. The quickest closing, I mean, we're going to take that offer over someone who wants to push it out 3 months. And ironically, this person selling the home didn't want to sell quickly. They needed time to ripe up loose ends, and she wanted at least 2 months before close. So that was totally orchestrated too for both people.
Yeah.
The timing.
Yep. And yeah, she said she wanted till mid-September, and we said, hey, how about we do October 1st?
Yep.
Because that
thrilled her.
Yes. So that was so good. And so in the meantime, we were talking about tornadoes and snakes and bugs, and I'm learning all sorts of things that I didn't know. Anyway, so in the meantime, I posted on this Facebook group that we were going to be moving and we didn't know anybody there. Well, one of the ladies in the group told me what town she lived in. And I'm like, that is so close to...
This is your Facebook group.
My Facebook group. On my Facebook group, not the Middle Tennessee one, but the Mamas group that I'm doing. And if you're not on there, it's Less Than Perfect Christian Mamas. So Melissa says to me, well, I lived in that town for 10 years. and so we started this private message, and I said, well, I need to hire some teenage boys because we are moving to a town we don't know anyone, and we're going to need some help unloading our truck. So could you get me some information of anybody with teenage boys I can pay money to help us move in? Well, wouldn't you know it, like there was some complications with the truck's arrival time and getting here. That's, it kind of went back and forth. But the long story short is that Melissa gathered one night, 6 people came to unload the truck and dig out just enough for us to get a bed to sleep in that night. But the next day, 21 people were here at our house to unload our entire truck. Strangers to us. In 1 hour, they had emptied our entire truck. We were like, and not only that, Melissa really was a welcoming committee in that that was on a Thursday. Mm-hmm. That was on a Thursday, I think, that we unloaded the truck. And then the following week, she said, I'm going to have a mom's luncheon, Pam. Why don't you come and we're going to just meet some of the moms. So she had a luncheon the next week, and I met a whole group of moms. From that, one of the moms has now since come. Lindsay was one of the moms that was there at that luncheon, and she invited us over for dinner. And so we've been at their house for dinner, and I'm going to be interviewing her for the podcast, and she'll be on the next week.
Wow.
So it's just like, wow, God has done these amazing things. So since Melissa set that up, another one of the moms said, hey, you know what? Could we come pick up your teenagers and show them around town? We'll load up our van full of teenagers, and they can just get to know each other. So they did that.
That's fun.
And it's just been like this community that has come around us from that connection. And I just feel so much.
You've only been here a month.
Oh my goodness. We felt like it was home in that regard. The people aspect within a week.
Right.
Within a week. We had all sorts of stuff going on. And they invited us to this big barn dance. So that was really fun. Okay, so the little girls were knocking on the door because they're hungry, of course. Because
always hungry.
Yes, because that's... Now, I will have to say, so one of the other little bonus things that we had not planned, not only did my husband have a room big enough to run a home office out of here, but as we walked through the house and we're like assigning, well, who's going to stay in what room, there's a guest room here. And in the back of the guest room is this wonderful closet.
With a window.
With a window in it. And so Sarah and I are sitting in the guest room closet because it is plenty big to set up.
And quiet.
Yes. So we are in the closet. This is going to be my podcast closet. So anybody who comes over to my house to record in Tennessee gets to come into my guest room, into the closet. And on the other side of the wall is a return where...
AC return.
Yes, the AC return where the kiddos, apparently when they're hungry, they can rap on it and rub their hands on it. And so we'll know that they're hungry. Anyway, people here have been so friendly. I tell you, the culture is amazing. I went in to go get my license plates for my vehicle, went into the county clerk's office, and they're playing Christian music. And I'm chatting with the lady at the window. She looks at my address, and she's like, "Oh, I live in that same little town." And I'm thinking, of course you do. Because this is the way God's been working. It's like he goes before me. He sets the way before me. He had this all planned out. So the little gal at the county clerk's office gives me her phone number and says, "You just give me a call if you need anything."
And you've had repair people here that have been super friendly.
Yes.
Reaching out, offering help.
Yes.
It's pretty amazing.
It is. And I'm just like, I'm blown away. And I do have those moments of, I don't know, tense that I'm thinking that tornado. In fact, the lady who sold us the house, she has been super sweet. She also gave me her phone number, said just text me anytime, if you have questions. So I actually texted her and I said, okay, I'm a little concerned about tornadoes. Where did you go when there was tornado warnings? And she told me where she went with her kids within this house. And when that big tornado came through that first week in March, she said it was pretty devastating. It actually touched down directly across the street of this house that we bought. And we didn't realize that when we bought it, but it did. It touched directly the people across the street. They've got down trees, and 1 mile down, total devastation. Houses down to their foundation. And when I drive into town, there's a whole swath of, you can just see the new construction. You can see the rubble where they've pushed aside all the broken parts of the house. There's places with tarps on because they've had damage and it hasn't repaired.
And those tarps will be there a long time because, even in Nashville, the roofers are just slammed trying to catch up. And it's not just roofers, but the construction industry in general.
Yes.
So it's very sad.
It is. And so the seller of this house, she said, nothing broke on the house. The house was untouched, but yet it touched down across the street. And we were talking about this earlier, Sarah. If my husband and I had come in person and walked through the house, we might not have bought it. Like, had I known that the tornado touched down across the street and devastated houses all up the highway for miles, in this town, people died. And I don't know that we would have made the decision to buy this house. But God made it so clear that it is time, and this is the house that I have planned for you. And I have made a way, and I go before, and I will lead you, and I'll be with you. It just makes me look at his faithfulness. It reminds me of his care in setting that apart.
Even keeping things like the tornadoes a concealed thing, so that you would come and fulfill that. Had you known about the tornadoes touching down, you wouldn't have bought the house. Had you known the water tasted yucky, you wouldn't have bought the house. But those things were concealed to you in his providence. Like, he wanted those things concealed.
Right. And I think that those are all minor details.
They are very minor details.
It's like God saying, you know what? I'm putting you there because I have a plan. And I want you there. And I have to say, I don't know exactly the reason. When people say, well, why did God bring you to this town? And why did he bring you to Tennessee? And why did he bring you to this town in Tennessee? When people ask me, well, what brings you to this town? I simply have to say, it's God. I don't know. Now, it's funny, when we went to this barn dance, I don't think I told you, I followed my GPS, and it took me directly to this lady's house for the barn dance. Now, the GPS did not disclose that it was down a winding road with hairpin turns down a hill with drop off, and if you pass another car, you're going to have to suck up to that drop off and don't do this at night because you won't be able to see the edge.
Oh.
I mean, like, it was scary. And I got to this lady's house in dusk, and I was nearly crying, pretty much crying, that I would have to drive back on that road to get home. And I asked her, and she said, "Oh no, there's another way. Let me tell you the other way." Thank you, Jesus. But there's several places where I've met several of these families, and I've gone to their houses, and they're up windy roads, and these roads with windy drop off. And I thought, not only did God give us the perfect house, this is a house on a straight stretch of road, completely flat. I could have gone on Zillow and found the perfect house, but the road leading up to it might have been my personal nightmare. And, like, God even gave us the right road.
He did.
And I'm just floored. Like, when I have those doubts and I think the tornado was close, what if another one comes?
But another one could come, but it's all you can't avoid those things.
Right. Absolutely. And you know what? My son's in
knowing that God is in control.
Right. And if he brought us here and he put us here.
Exactly.
And I don't know why he brought us here and put us here. I'm still going to figure it out. But my job is to keep walking forward in obedience.
That's right.
And just say, Lord, you're going to reveal these things to me as they're important. And I'm just going to trust you in the details.
That's right.
So it's been a really good thing in my walk of faith. Definitely learning new things. I'm definitely challenged. I'm definitely growing. My kiddos are looking at my face. I mean, I'm reading stories in story time, read-alouds, and my voice quivers and I tear up. And the little boys look over and they're like, "Are you crying again, Mom?" I'm like, "Yeah," because I'm reading stories of God's faithfulness. We've been reading history, and as I read about what people in history have done and gone before us, and I feel it. I feel it differently than
You've
I ever
experienced it.
Yeah.
Firsthand.
Yeah. It's a different thing. So I want to read a couple scriptures. One is Deuteronomy 31:8. "The Lord is the one who goes ahead of you. He will be with you. He will not fail or forsake you. Do not fear or be dismayed." Another one is Isaiah 41:10. "So do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand." And this one too is really kind of cool for this situation. Psalm 32:8. "I will instruct you and teach you in the way you should go. I will counsel you with my eye on you." And I feel like that is exactly what God has done. Like, I tell you, my life changed. Our lives changed in 8 weeks. From the time we felt God say, "It's time," that was like July 22nd, to the time we left our home in Oregon, September 25th. That was like 8 weeks. From thinking we would leave in years to the time we physically were walking out of our house in Oregon. 8 weeks.
It's crazy.
And then to come here and to receive the love that we've received from people, I just feel like that is the Lord has been instructing us and teaching us the way we should go at each spot. He has been counseling us, and not only that, the other thing that's cool is that not only it's like I was listening to the Lord and we were following what he would have, but all the people on this end, from Melanie, who's the one who said, "Why don't you check out this town? Go look up here," to Melissa, who got together this crew. There's been another gal, Victoria. She has just embraced me and connected. So many of these ladies. And I just think when I doubt, when I fear, I just need to look back and remember what the Lord has done and what he's promised and what he will do. So, yeah. So would you like to pray for the people that, I just know right now the Lord's just stirring in a lot of people to maybe just see if the place they're going to be
Mm-hmm.
is the place they're supposed to be. So,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I would love to. Father, I thank you so much for the opportunity to come here and share with other people how your right hand has sustained us and has led us. And I'm so grateful for having met Pam and her family. And I thank you that we have firsthand had the experience to witness all of the details being laid out before them, and to be a part of this story. And Father, I know that there are people all over the world that are living in very uncertain situations. We're fearful of what is to lie ahead. And I do pray that first and foremost, for peace for those families, that they would trust you and that they would trust in your guidance and your providence, and that they would seek you firsthand to lead them where they should go. And I thank you so much, Father, that you have prepared a place for us here, that you know and you lead, and you even down to the little details of who will meet here, and our friends and our future church family. I pray, Father, that you would provide more and more people in the path of the Fields family, that her children would find friends that are dear to them. I pray that you would continually put those people in their path and then continually show them your love in that manner. And Father, I pray that you would sustain us through these next few months and continue to lead us. I pray this in your name. Amen.
Amen. Well, Sarah, thanks for coming over today.
Yes,
Another
thanks for
2-hour
having me.
drive. Hey, would you mind driving another 4 hours
Sure.
to come see me and visit and help me share my story in how the Lord moved us? Because,
Yes.
I mean, I don't know how it changes your faith, but I know my faith has grown, and it's been great to walk this path
Yes,
with you.
Absolutely. It's been fun.
Yeah.
It's been a lot of fun, and I've enjoyed coming and seeing the house.
Yeah.
Occupied.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. So, and the other thing I was going to say, for those listening, I'm going to put a link to Sarah and her husband, their realty, what do you call it?
Team,
Just
Facebook group.
Your team.
We're a team. And my husband and I work together. So, I'm also a homeschool mom. So I'm home a lot, and it's the perfect setup for us, because we pass the kids around. I've got to go do this, you watch the kids, you stay home with the kids in school. So it's really been great. But we're a husband-wife team, and we are believers. We love Jesus, and we like to serve the homeschool community specifically because that's where our heart is.
Yeah, and that was one thing too, as we looked at moving. You kind of knew where, if you move to this community, this would be great. They have a lot of good homeschool connections. And so anyway, so it's been great working with you on that. And so we're going to put the link for you, and I don't know if there's any other details like that.
Not really. The Facebook group's called Latch Homes. My name is Sarah Latch, and my husband is Chris. And again, we would love to work with you guys if you're considering Middle Tennessee.
Yeah,
So
and I think maybe there's some of our well, there's always, the Lord always has new friends for you, and you don't ever separate from those friends that you had before. I've been thinking about when I graduated high school, the song Michael W. Smith was "Friends are friends forever."
Yes.
The Lord's the Lord of them,
That's
right?
true.
And so we may not always be able to live near our friends, but we can still connect.
That's right.
So anyway,
Well, thank you for having me.
Thanks.
I hope that you've been encouraged or challenged in your faith today, and that something we discussed prompts you to grow deeper in your walk with the Lord. If it has, make sure you tell a friend so they can grow along with you. And if you or a friend would like to be a guest and share about God's faithfulness in your life, please email me at podcast@tendingfields.net. Because when we tell of God's faithfulness, we never run out of stories.
Whatever is true.